Oh, magnify the Lord with me and let us exalt his name together. You know how we do it. Welcome to a deeper dive. I'm your diver tonight, Pastor A, and come on, you know how we do it. Let us know that you are in the room. Good evening, Sister Pamela Dawkins. Good to have you. Patricia Stevens, always good to have you. Come on in the room, like, share, do all of those great, amazing things so that we can spread the gospel of Jesus Christ. We are indeed excited and delighted to be in this virtual space tonight. I'm going to tell you why I'm excited. I'm excited, number one, because y'all, the women of Zion showed out on Sunday. In my absence, I might say. But you guys did an amazing job, and we're certainly excited about that. Good evening, Sherry Ann. Good evening, Sister Jones. Good evening, Sister Tawana. Listen, we're going to dive right in. The reason why we're going to dive right in, because we're excited to have the author of the book, this book that we're going to talk about today, this phenomenal word in the personality of Lady Lawana Parrott. Good to have you in the sanctuary. Let me first of all do this. Let me say bravo. Job well done for an amazing word. Only thing I hate about it was I was not there in person to cheer you on. I was having church on a track field. And so I'm excited about that. Welcome to a deeper dive. How you doing tonight?
I'm good. Thank you so much for the invite.
Listen, we're going to dive right into it because Lady Parrott is serving two masters tonight, so she's got to go to work. So we don't have a lot of time to dive in. But I'm going to do this real quickly. We like to deeper dive is about not only going into the word that was preached, but also going into the mindset of what God was saying to you when you preach his word. And I want to just say in the beginning of this that so often when you get an invitation, I get an invitation, oftentimes they kind of tell you what to do. There's the thing. But Lady Parrott did her own research about the Zion Church, found out what our thing was, because I thought Lady Austin had I asked her Sunday, did you tell her what to talk about? She said, no, I didn't tell her what to talk about, and you just read all of our mail for the year. So talk to us about what God was saying to you as you were preparing this message for us.
So after the invite, and Lady Austin kind of said, just do your own thing. I did my homework. I went on, and the first thing that actually caught my eye was one of your advertisements, because you had on the T-shirt.
Right.
And I said, okay. I said, I didn't ask if that was the thing. I probably should have. But I saw it on your shirt, and I said, well, you know what, Lord, I need you to give me something that matched Pastor Nate's shirt. Because if he's wearing it, then that means something at Zion is going on about that. So, I prayed about it and I started to prepare, and he took me straight to what your shirt said, and told me that I was going to talk about God is calling us beyond what we have been. And so, I don't know how you do with y'all, but usually my titles come first. And then
Right.
I'm confused because I'm like, okay, Lord, I need a scripture.
So that you're like Lady Austin. That's what she be saying. I be like, I don't know how you do it like that, but okay, I'll go work with you.
Now, of course, the professional field takes me to teaching and leading every day, but this is something different. And so you want to be, for me, I want to make sure that when I stand, it's solid, not made up, and so that's where God took me. And I think one of the things, as I was preparing, as I was studying, as I kept going back, I think God also wanted to speak to me, in a sense of saying, you know what, this is what you're gonna say to the people, but then I also need you to live it. So that's kind of how it came about. It grew and it grew, and then the Lord just led me into everything that I needed to kind of say. So I didn't get no information from you all. I just went with what God said.
Listen, I'm telling you, and that's the way God works in that season. And I'm certainly excited about that. Listen, I took a lot of notes, so I'm going to dive right into it. I took a lot of notes. Man. I took a lot of notes. So Isaiah chapter 54. You came from the New Living Translation, starting at verse number 2, where the Bible says, enlarge the place of your tent and let the curtains of your habitations be stretched out and do not hold back. Lengthen your cords and strengthen your stakes. And then verse 3 says, you will spread abroad to the right and to the left, and to your offspring will possess the nations of all the people, the desolate cities. And of course, you've already given your title. And I mean, you were striking gold even in the introduction, because one of the things that stuck out to me, one of the first notes I wrote was that, God has not stopped blessing, but people have stopped expecting. Yeah, that thing resonated in my spirit, because a lot of times we as people of God, we put the limits on God. And we've got to understand that God is, even in this economy, right? Even in the world in which we live right now, with all of the craziness happening around us, the good news is God has not stopped blessing, and he won't stop blessing. And I'm grateful for that. And I like this verse. I like verse number 1 of this text, because verse number 1 talks to us about the women that are bearing, the childless women, right? And he says, like, listen, these are women that have never given birth. But the latter clause of that verse says basically, but when I start blessing, they're gonna start having more children than women who live with their husbands. Lord have mercy. So again, women who are barren, or people who are barren from not just a natural sense, but a practical sense or a spiritual sense, shouldn't stop expecting. Because when God starts doing it, they're going to be more blessed with abundance, man. Like that thing blessed me. That thing blessed me that we should never stop expecting. Why do people stop expecting? Let's just ask that question. Why do you think people stop expecting?
So one of the main things I believe happen because it don't happen instantaneously. So I ask for something and it don't happen right away. So I start to lose hope because it didn't happen right away. But as I stated on Sunday, one of the things that we have to understand that God can't bless us sometimes immediately because we're actually not ready for it. So we have to understand that while we're waiting, we should be preparing, because what we're asking God for, if you have not lost the faith, if you have not stopped expecting, you know that at any given moment, God is going to come and do just what he said he could do. So we get so caught up, and we want God to bless us, but we don't want to wait until he blesses us.
Yeah, and you just kind of dealt with that expect, right? Expect greater from God, right? Expect greater from God. And one of the things that you said that really blessed me was you can't receive what you don't believe. See, I was taking notes, man. I'm telling you, I was taking notes. You can't receive what you don't believe. So when you don't believe, you move out of the posture of expectation because you're not even believing. You're not even believing what God says. And for each of us, we've got to just get into this posture of expecting. And you said greater from God. So, and I remember you used Ephesians 3:20 because sometimes we expect things from God, but if we're honest, it's not that great. We may move to the spec. I expect him to wake me up tomorrow. That's not to take that for granted, but I like the fact that you put emphasis on the greater from God.
Because he's promised us that he has more for us. Just like you talked about the women in that first verse. Wait on it. If you just wait and keep expecting, God is going to move. And then he's going to bless you so much so that you're going to be confused and be like, whoa, wait. But I tell people all the time, my expectation is huge. One, I have a big imagination. So I know I've seen, because he's done some things that that to me could have been limited, but he's done great things. So my expectation each and every day is after he wake me up, after I start my day, after I move about, he got something better for me. No matter how bad the day is, I already know that he has something better for me. So that's why my expectation is it's enormous. I mean, it's huge.
I'm a splash. Whenever you do a bar, as the young people would say, we do a splash. And we ask people to put in the comment because it is deeper dive. And he's got something greater for me. That somebody need to say that in their spirit. He has something greater for me. You said this. I didn't say this. And if I'd have said this, they'd have said I stepped on people's toes. You can't serve a big God with little expectation.
No.
Yeah. The level of our expectation. Yeah, the level of our expectation really determines the type of God. I said this a few years ago. How did I say it? I said, the God we see is the God we get. That's how I said it. The God we see is the God we get. So if we see only a little God, we're going to get a little God. We're going to get little blessings. And people get mad at me or mad at you because you expecting big things, but you see a big God.
Yep.
The God you see is the God you see.
There's no limits for me with God. There are no limits with me with God because I trust him in everything. Listen, here it is. I'm not going to be super saved. I trust him in everything, the good and the bad. Because, we ain't Halo Phil. God is even seeing me through things sometimes that I probably ain't got no business in. But my expectation is that because I'm trusting him, I know he's going to do it.
Yes.
Pastor Nate, when I bought my car now a few years ago, it's about time to get a new one.
Is that white BMW you talked about Sunday?
Yeah. I told husband one Sunday afternoon, I said, I want to go looking. And, I went with expectations that I was going to drive off the lot with my car.
Ooh.
And God did it. So I didn't have no whole bunch of down payment. I had what I had, and they had what I wanted, and I drove it off the lot. So I went with expectation. So everything that I do it with expectation because I know how big God is. There's no limits.
Yeah, the God we see is absolutely the God we get. And we have to expect greater from God, as you said. And, you mentioned about how we shrink ourselves to fit the expectation of others. So, and I know you know better than this as first lady. You got to be careful what you do, what you wear, what you drive, because I don't care what it is. You stole the church money to buy it. I'm telling you right now, you took the church money to buy it, and so sometimes what we think people's mentality is about what we do will cause us to shrink
Yes.
because
Yes.
we're doing things to please. I'm gonna just ride this because if I buy this, they ain't gonna really say nothing. But if I buy this, oh, they gonna start talking about. And so we shrink
Right.
based upon other people's perspective. And when you start doing that, you realize it don't matter what you do, what you drive, what you wear, they gonna still talk.
Exactly. Exactly.
So why
Well,
shrink yourself?
I say quite often, build a bridge, get over it. I'm not shrinking because I think or see that you're gonna feel a certain kind of way. I'm just not doing it because I start, with doing that, I feel like I'm lowering my expectations of what God can do. You're not gonna box me up. That's not gonna happen. You're not boxing me up because when you start to do that, like I said, our prayer life change, our faith change, we get weak, and then we're no good for nobody else, and that's not how God intended for us to be.
Yeah. Yeah, French. I know you could say something because that big old nice truck you driving. I know. I like that. Yeah, that's right. Val, people gonna talk regardless. They gonna talk regardless. So we might as well not shrink. We might as well expect greater things from God, and that's what God is saying in this text. That listen, you got to understand. He says in verse 2, again, enlarge the place of your tent. Just enlarge it, right? And the second thing you moved into in this expansion is you focused on, and we're moving because again, Lady Tawana, I keep wanting to say Tawana. I got so many Tawanas in my church. Lawana, you talked about expanding your capacity, right? That so often, if we're really honest, we're not prepared for what it is we're praying for.
Nope.
We don't have the capacity for it.
Nope.
We don't have the capacity for it. and you said it. God sometimes withholds it from us so that he might not hurt us.
Right.
He don't want to hurt us.
God knows that we're asking for things, and God already know that he could not give me, or he could, but I'm not going to give her the 7-bedroom house because she can't handle the 3-bedroom house.
Can't keep that clean.
And God, sometimes he wants us to know that when I say it's time, it's not about your timing, because I already can see down the road what's coming. And so now you got this, you have that, you've done this, and now you're in a slump because I already knew that you were going to get laid off. So sometimes we have to be very careful especially when we're asking God for just things. We have to be very careful. We know that, I know without a shadow of a doubt that he can do it. So whenever I pray for something and it don't come right away, I know that I need to be doing some preparing while I'm waiting. Because evidently, what I wanted right then and there, God knew I didn't need it right then and there. I probably would have got the big head, lost my mind, So God knows that he does everything within his own time, not human's time. We can't put no time restraints on him. We gotta wait.
Yeah, the key I see in that is that capacity piece. That's so important. And we got to grow to that level of capacity. I know, of course, you mentioned it kind of briefly on Sunday that, as a first family, ours and your stories kind of parallel, started pastoring at the same time, both started at historical churches. Your church is, of course, church you all grew up in. And a lot of things, what happens is sometimes churches get so conditioned that they can't even think they can do anything else. This is all we can do. Yeah, this is all we can do, and it's just we just gonna replay. We just gonna dig up what Coleman did, and we gonna just replay that. That's all we can do. We gonna just repeat, and it becomes a cycle, right? Because as you said, the stretching, we don't like to be stretched.
Right.
So we want to be comfortable.
That makes us uncomfortable. There it is. Yeah. Anything that makes us uncomfortable, we don't want no parts. So God is teaching us that, in order to get some of these things, you got to stretch out. You cannot stay right here. We've been here too long.
Too long.
So you're right. We stretch out and allow God to get us out of that place of comfort. We got to get out of comfort. And we got to move over a little bit. Do it this way. One of the things we did, Pastor Nate, is we changed the traditional color of the church.
Oh, don't talk about that.
From a white church to a color.
Oh, don't talk about that. You're giving me scars, Lord. Because when I painted that church brown, I just knew they were gonna put me on the Calvary's cross.
So we gotta stretch out of the limits. Okay, it's been white. I had been there almost 30. It's been white this long. So let's try something else.
Yeah.
It's okay, but we don't like to be stretched. We don't like to, like I said, we want to wait till we know that the battle is completely over. We won, and before we shout. No, we got to learn to shout in the midst of what we're going through. You still got to stop and say, God, I thank you, because on the other side of through, I already know I have the victory. We got to stretch.
Yeah.
And we don't want to stretch.
Yeah, I mean, one of the things, again, you talked about, obedience before evidence, right? That obedient, we have to be obedient. We want to see the evidence, right? But faith is the substance of things hoped for and the evidence of things not seen. It takes, because if you have the evidence, there's really no need to be obedient, because then there's no faith there. But obedience comes before evidence. Of course, and you list all the people that God stretched: Noah, Abraham, Peter, Moses. He literally told him to stretch out what he had in his hand. And I like when you said this: the greatest expansion happens in a season that you wouldn't choose for yourself.
That's right.
If we're honest,
never choose.
Right? We'll never choose this. No, man, no, I wouldn't have chose this. A, B, C, or D. I'ma chose the convenient one right there. That's the one I'm choosing. That's don't give me no options.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's part of too. I taught it in Sunday school one time. I said we have to be very careful when we just belittle the people. I said, because if we're honest, sin is easy. Sin is easy.
Lord have mercy.
So why would I subject myself to what that mindset would say, rules and regulations, when I can just do what I want to do? It's so much easier. I don't have to check in. I don't have to give an account. I just do what I do when I do it and how I do it. It's convenient. So,
Lord.
when God is telling us you can't have it and see it right away, but I want you to have some faith. I want you to go ahead and get ready for what's going to take place at your church. What's going to happen? The things like that. And we have to be ready for the expansion.
Yeah, I mean, the capacity to live righteous, the capacity to be, that word disciple, the key word when I teach that in our new marriage, the key word of that is discipline. It takes some stretching to be disciplined. It's easier to be undisciplined. It's easier to say the heck with it. This is convenient. It's right here. It's harder to walk away or to not do it. So you're absolutely right. And God chooses things. He chooses the hard for us because he knows we're not going to choose it for ourselves. He knows that. And so because he knows that, we'll never enlarge. We'll never grow. And something you said as they were enlarging, that they left physically, but not mentally.
Right.
Listen,
Right.
that you could have knocked me over with a feather. They left Egypt physically, but Egypt hadn't left them mentally. How and I don't I'm okay with getting in trouble, but
So
again,
so
I
let's
pass a
bifurcate
similar,
it.
I
Let
pass a
let.
similar, and you know what it's like to take a people out of Egypt.
Oh Jesus.
You said, and they end up wanting to go back to the place of. I didn't say it. You said. I'm just saying. I got a big. You got a big amen. That's why I say I wish I was there because you
So
got a big.
and again, so we talking 15. We say 15 years ago, pastoral ministry. So I'm the little girl. I'm the grown woman, yet the little girl that's been there for so long. So this ain't how it should be done. This is what you should be doing. This is how you should. No, I'm not doing that. You're not taking me back. I'm moving forward. When it shifted, my mindset shifted. I'm no longer now the minister's wife / deaconess. My role changed. Now, everything has to get a little bit bigger for me. I got to open up, enlarge my capacity, because now I know I am going to have to do some stretching.
Right,
I'm
right,
going to be stressed out.
right.
But
Stress and
we
stress,
don't,
Lord.
yes. So you deal with the seasoned saints not wanting to really physically leave where they were accustomed to being.
Right.
So now, you got me like, oh, God, oh, no. But I have to not conform or shrink to what they want. I have to expect and expand because I know what God is going to do.
Yeah, it's a tough thing to be, physically free but mentally bound, right? You mentioned that we lead people, and that's the most difficult thing. I know for me, that's the most difficult thing for me is to lead people who we know are mentally bound. They bound by the past, they're bound by their old ways, and they bound by the traditions and things that they used to do and ways, things, all those things. And we like, no, we are free. God says who the Son sets free is free indeed. We gotta not just say we're free, we gotta act like we're free. And in order to, again, if a tent is in place, and I know we gotta go, the tent is in place. In order to expand, it's got to free itself from the ground so it can grow out.
So it can stretch out.
Right. Yeah. You can't stretch out the tents, but unwilling to take it the stakes out the ground.
Right, right.
Yeah. See, church people won't grow, but they don't want to take the stakes out the ground. They just want, let's just grow here. No, that's not how growth works. Growth works through expansion, and expansion our capacity. Then finally, of course, and this is rapid fire, deeper dive edition, evolving into what God has called us to be. That evolution piece is critical. When you say involve, what is it that you're focusing on when you're talking about that? Because you stated we celebrate being saved but resist being changed. So what is evolution in your mind?
When you start to think about evolving, I kind of think of the flower, like I mentioned the butterfly. We start at a certain place, and through each one of those seasons, each one of those stretches, we need to be moving into the next position. So as we continue to move, at some point, it's time for us to, open up, shine, show who we are. So that's what I'm thinking about, evolving into what God called you to be, called you to do, assigned your hands to. And a lot of times we're so scared because it takes us back to not stretching. We're so scared that we never really truly evolve into what God wants us to do. Somebody might upset, I growing up, the women preaching and all that stuff. At some point you got to evolve into the fact that the woman can carry the word just like the man.
Hey, I was blessed Sunday. I told her I got all these notes. I got more notes. I don't heard men preaching. I ain't have this many notes, but anyway, keep going.
We remain so spiritually mature. Yes, you join the church. Yes, we're going to teach you. But then you get to a point where now you can't be taught anymore. You know, I often say, as educators, and your wife can share this, every 5 years, we got to go re-up. We got to recertify.
Yes.
So if I'm still immature in what I need to be learning and growing in, because each year, every 5 years, we got to take either some classes or do something.
Right.
We just couldn't sit 5 years and go to renew, and we don't have nothing done. So as those years are passing by, we're evolving until we get to that 5th year where we have to recertify. Same thing with the church. I, Lawana, have a problem when you've been saved so long and you still are growing. Not growing, but still under what you call construction. I hear that so much. Like, at what point did you go through the cycle of being of evolving? Come on, 20 years? What stage are you at? Are you still in the cocoon? Or are you ready to blossom now? We can't stay stagnant, because that's not what God wants. He has never told us. I've seen nowhere in there where he told us to just stop. Stop serving. Stop. No, I haven't seen that.
Wow.
I'm sorry. So we got to keep moving. We can't get stagnant in a simple place when we're supposed to be evolving into something greater. God, I have not seen what God is going to do for me just in a season. And I'm looking for great things. I don't know where he's going to take me, but I know he's going to take me to where he desires for me to be. That's me. That's my evolution.
Yeah, to see, evolution, to see it in people is such an amazing thing. I heard you for the first time speak in February, and I told my wife when I got home, I wasn't even there. I was there and I had to leave. My wife always has me on daddy duty, so I had to leave.
That's okay.
And I was watching the service, and I told my wife, that is your Women's Day speaker. She's going to come whatever date she can come. That's going to be your Women's Day. And I just left it at that. That was it. That was it. That was it right there. And because you talk about evolution, to see you because I know who you were and I know the box that you were in, right? As just the deaconess, the minister's wife, and all that. And now you evolved into a first lady, a speaker, really a bootleg preacher. But anyway, just somebody who can articulate the word of God. You're not just this, I'm going to be this, right? And so thank you so much for just being a blessing to us. Thank you so much for this impartation. Like I said, I was blessed by the word you gave us. So really, Zion, you've heard the first word of evolution already. So we're doing the theme in quarters. So the first 4 months we focused on expectation. We're in the second 4 months of expansion, and then we're going to close out with evolving. So they've already heard the first word or a portion of the word of evolution already, and so they're going to rehear some of it again. But you don't know how much you've blessed us in this season for where God has us, because we're in that stretching season. God is doing some amazing things, some crazy things, but amazing at the same time. And I just want to appreciate you again. Ladies and gentlemen, let's celebrate Lady Parrott for being with us tonight. I know you got to go. Any closing words before I let you go tonight? Anything you want to say in closing?
Yes, I just, again, thank you so much. And I want, as we all go through our seasons, because we haven't seen the best season nor the worst season yet. So as we continue to go through our various seasons, our stretching processes. We need to just trust God. And I want you to really, without a shadow of a doubt, expect God for bigger and better things because He's able to do it and He
Yes.
will do it. And you just have to keep the faith, stay strong, and keep moving forward.
Thank you, woman of God. It was your first time, but it won't be your last time. And if I'd have known you saw the shirt, I would have had a shirt for you. But I don't want Ben to not be friends with me anymore. So, but again, thank you so much. Have an amazing rest of your day. All right.
Thank
Be
you. You
blessed.
have a
Thank you
good
so
one.
much.
Thank
All
you.
right. Listen, Zion, we were blessed. We were blessed by the woman of God. Listen, she did an amazing job. Preached our whole thing in one message, and I'm certainly grateful for that. Listen, we got you got a little smaller edition, a deeper dive today, but I'm telling you, she absolutely did that as it relates to expectation, of course, expanding, and then of course evolving, expecting greater from God. Listen, Zion, we're in a interesting season of our lives. God is literally stretching us. He's taking us. I don't want to say backwards. I'm trying to find a word. I'm trying to find, but He's taking us back to move us forward. But I want to speak this word of caution. Everything that God promised, I believe, is still on the table. We are still trusting and believing God for a permanent home in 2026. We're still trusting and believing God. We're still walking by faith and not by sight. We're not going back to be complacent. We're going back so that we can get our stuff, so that we can continue to enlarge our territory, enlarge our capacity. I want to say this. Thank you. We're revisiting. Thank you. I knew somebody that was smarter than me. I like y'all. I got preachers in here. He's rerouting us. He's revisiting us. You give me another hour, that'll be a whole sermon. He's redirecting us. I like y'all some preachers in the room. But I want to say this, and I'm glad she mentioned capacity, because one of the things God spoke in my spirit, and Pastor Brandon and I, we were talking about this a few days ago, is that we're in a season of assuring our capacity. You see, when God stretched us out to go where we've gone, He's shown us our capabilities. So now God wants us to reinforce our capacity. He wants us to make sure that we can handle what our final destination is. So you know what we're going to be doing in these next few weeks or months, wherever God has, we're going to be shoring up our systems. We're going to be showing up our capacity. We're going to be making sure that everything we're praying for, as the woman of God says, we're ready for. We're ready for how to receive people, how to connect with people, how to impact people, how to make sure we keep people, how to make sure we have the system to grow, whether it's our young people or new members, all of the things that we're desiring to do. God is saying, I'm giving you now that you've seen. It's similar to we got a taste of the promised land. God let us see a glimpse of it. And now that we've seen a glimpse of what is possible, now God says, now I'm going to get you ready. Now I'm going to let you go back. You may be a little uncomfortable right now. I'm talking to you. Don't stop coming to church. Let's feel God's house. Let's show the world this is why we got to get up out of here. I'm speaking that word even now. Every seat will be filled. Overflow chairs in the back of the church will already be set up. We are ready to show God in the world, because guess what? Because I have so much expectation, I don't know who may want to sow into us. I don't know who may want to look at Zion and say, we got to help Zion. We got to make sure they get up out of there, because we've seen the possibilities. We've seen what God can do. We've seen the hand of God move in His ministry, and we don't want to stay stuck and static. So yes, we revisit, we reroute, but guess what? We trust and believe that God is going to yet expand us. We're working on our capacity. Yeah, I got messages prepared to talk about capacity. We're working on our capacity. Whatever it is you're praying for, as you're listening to me right now, you know what you need to do? You need to stop praying and start working on your capacity. Stop praying and start preparing. You stop praying because you believe God's going to do it. So you don't have to pray about it anymore. I'm not praying about much anymore. Not as it relates to this. I'm preparing because I made my petition towards God. I've told God what I desired, what we needed. So I don't have to pray about that anymore. God said, I heard your prayer. I heard your cry. I've seen your tears. Now prepare for what it is that you're expecting from me. So expand your capacity. That's what we're doing in this season. We're literally, that's why I shouted when I heard it, because we're in the season right now, literally, where God says, here's what I want you to do, Zion. I want you to expand your capacity. Come on, say it with me in the comments. Expand our capacity. That's what we're doing. Expanding our capacity. We're going to know exactly how to greet people. We're going to know exactly how to receive people. We're going to know exactly how to follow up with people. We're going to know exactly how to handle youth ministry. We are expanding our capacity. We're going to form communities during this time together. We're going to get to know everybody. Do you know how many people have connected with our church since we moved from Zion to the Faith Place? A lot of people. You know what we're going to do in this season of revisiting? We're going to get to see them up close and personal. We're going to get to know them a little bit better so that the nucleus we had when we left Zion the first time, we got to revisit that. We got to reform that. We got to reshape that. We got to reinforce that Zion strong mentality. So God has given me a plan to strengthen our community. I'll say it that way. So we're going to be doing some out of the box things for the goal of strengthening the community. We've grown numerically, we've grown financially, we've grown spiritually, but we've also grown psychologically. And so we're going to expand our capacity in this season, and we are trusting and believing. We're trusting and believing that God's going to do great things in the life of our church. So don't get weary in well doing. Yeah, when you come to Zion this summertime, go ahead and dress a little comfortable. It'll be all right. Oh, I don't know if I'm finding a seat. You can have my seat. Don't worry about that. You worry about showing up. That's what you do. You just show up. God will make room. God will make room. I promise you, He'll make room. Don't you dare. Let's let them have it. Don't let them have it. You're going to miss what God has for you. He's expanding our capacity. That's what He's doing. He wants to do it in your life, not just for Zion. He wants to do it for your business. He wants to do it for your life. Expand your capacity to receive it. I got messages on it. I can't preach it now. He wants us to expand our capacity to receive it. We know our possibilities. I've watched Zion come up with creative ideas that they didn't come up with before. The hospitality with donuts and coffee in the lobby. They've expanded their thinking. Why? Because God has shown them what's possible. God has shown them what's possible. I've seen the dance ministry. I mean, my God, our dance ministry, we've got more. We need more uniforms. We got to get more uniforms. We're going back. The praise team, we got to get new microphones. We don't have enough microphones. We did a microphone count. We don't have enough. That's growth, y'all. We had a certain amount of microphones because we had a certain amount of praise team when we left Zion. Now we did a count, and guess what? We don't have enough microphones. That is what I call expansion. So God is expanding us. So we're coming to expand our capacity, our ability to receive it. Why? Because if we don't, God giving it to us will actually hurt us. What would it feel like if somebody dumped something on you that you weren't ready to receive? Think about that for a moment. Somebody just dumped. I mean, it could be no matter what it is. It could be something you want. It could be something you want. But if you're not prepared to receive it, if they're giving you more than you have the capacity for, that's going to be spillage. It's going to end up being wasted. You're not going to be able to handle it. So what God says is simple. Listen, let's expand our capacity. Let's make sure we have the amount of deacons we need. Let's train up new men. We got to expand our ministry. They're literally ministers, vessels in training as we speak. Why? Because we're expanding our capacity. Pastors can't do it all. You see how well Zion ran and I wasn't there? That's how it's supposed to be. It's not supposed to fall. It's not. I want you to miss me, but not to the point where Zion is not moving. Oh my God, Reb ain't here. Church was a disaster. No, if it's a disaster, if I'm not there, then we're not ready. It's supposed to go. It's supposed to move. That's what expansion looks like. We're expanding our capacity. God has us in this season. We're trusting and we're believing God that we are better. God is taking us from what has been to what he has for us. Listen, I want you to do me a favor. We're closing out tonight. It's a short edition of Deeper Dive. I want us to be a blessing. I want you to sow a seed tonight. I want to be a blessing to the woman of God who took time out of her work schedule. As you saw, as she was chiming off, she was getting ready to go to work. I didn't want her to get fired. She was serving 2 masters. I want to just be a simple blessing to her tonight. I'm not going to ask you for a particular amount, but I want you to show her that you're grateful for the word that she deposited into the life of Zion. So I want you to do that now. All the ways and methods of giving that on the screen right now. We are going to be a blessing to her because I'm telling you, not because she's a friend, not because I know when somebody has heard from God to speak to us. Again, as you heard her say, we didn't give her a theme. She researched the theme and she asked God to give her a word for us. And she did just that. I like that. Yes, the church should be on autopilot. Every ministry of our church should be on autopilot. That's what we're going to be working on. How can this church run on autopilot? That when somebody is not there, the backup is going to run the same play. The backup is going to be able to do it as if the leader was there. That's the type of church God wants Zion to become. That's the type of church we will come. We will become. That's what it means by expanding our capacity. And Pastor Austin in here, my wife will tell you, I was like, I can go to church and lead in, go to the track meet. She said, boy, you don't sit your behind home. You don't stay home and rest a little bit. I'm telling you, man, he's not going to run. She said, well, what's wrong with just sleeping in a little bit? I had a long week, was in Atlanta, in Orlando, had a very long week, and I still wanted to pray. She said, we got it. It's going to be okay. I was like, no, it's going to be okay. I didn't even really watch. I was kind of watching it. I usually be glued in to watch the service the entire time, like from start to finish. I wasn't even doing that. I kind of caught glimpses of it and went back and watched it later, and I saw growth. I was proud of that. And that's what the church should be. Pastor can be away. Pastor can take a vacation. Pastor can take a sabbatical if he needed to. And the church still moves. Souls still get saved. Lives still get changed. Whatever finances need, all those things. That's what it means by expanding our capacity. Listen, we're getting ready to go. Pray. Pray that God continues to bless us. Listen, Sunday, we are acknowledging our graduates, high school, middle school. So my son, can you believe my baby boy is going to middle school? Y'all getting old. Y'all are getting old. My oldest son is going to 10th grade. He's already preparing for prom. That's 2 years, maybe 1 year away. My youngest, my last one, is getting ready to go to middle school. So we are in celebratory mode. We're excited about that. So we're going to be doing that. And then listen, you heard the announcement. Get you some lunch. We're going to come back. We're going to kind of pack up a little bit. I need as many of you. I need a lot of men. But ladies, we can use some help with that as well. Help us to transition. And then next Monday, we're going to do some walkthroughs and run-throughs because we're coming back. We're not going to come back like we left. No, we're coming back better, stronger, wiser, with greater systems so that we can flow into what God has for us. So it's going to be an interesting Sunday for us. So we're looking forward to that. Listen, summer camp registration going. I think we registered 3 more families today. So we're running out of room. But we got room for you. Trust me. Register your child. You need somewhere to take them for summer camp. Not gonna find a better place. Not only is it affordable, good environment. You know the environment. We're gonna feed them every day. They're gonna have fun. So if you know somebody who needs a place for their child to go, help them, bless them, pay their registration fee, offer them a week. Be a blessing. If you're in a position to be a blessing, say, hey, you need somewhere for your child to go. I got you. I got your registration. I'll sow a week into. Let's just be a blessing. If you could do that for us. Help a family that is deserving of it. All right. Then, fellas, we did this last year. It was an amazing turnout. We're gonna have our watch party June the 5th. I believe that's a Friday. So we'll invite not just men, ladies, you want to come. June the 5th. We're gonna talk more about it Sunday. June the 5th. Gonna have our watch party. We know the Knicks are in the finals. We don't know the Thunder of the Spurs as of yet. But we're gonna be together next Friday in a watch party. Hosted by some men of our church, Pastor Gunn, along with myself. All right. God bless you guys. We love you. Look forward to seeing you Sunday. We'll be in lunchtime in the Lord tomorrow. We look forward to Sunday. We're going to be talking about expanding our mindset, man. We're going to speak that word into the graduates, into the body of Christ as well, how we ought to expand our mindset. Lady of God talked about a little bit on Sunday. We're going to continue talking about that as well. I love you. God bless you. God keep you is our prayer. We will see you next time. Love you guys. I'll see you tomorrow. Lunchtime in the Lord. See the rest of you all on Sunday. Be blessed.